and tossed them on the bed.
I can't believe she left the house to you.
Percy blinked back, the tender punch of grief filling his chest. She paid off your college loans. She gave me the house, but it's run down and there are mortgages. She was fair.
Fair? When my parents died, she could have taken me in. I ended up in a shithole with my loser uncle. You practically pranced away from your living parents, and she took you in? Nothing she did was fair.
Are you suggesting my life has been all rainbows? Frank shoved past Percy, muttering,
Leave it to you to bring the gay to a fight.
Percy followed him out the front door and over the ungroomed grass. In all fairness, with this face, I bring the gay everywhere. Frank whirled around and tossed keys at him.
You forgot those. I brought them to you.
Lights popped on in the neighboring houses. Percy's neck prickled at a movement across the street. If he looked, he knew he'd see Callaghan Glover across the road looming in the shadows. He stared at his blotchy-faced cousin. Why did you rifle through her things? Why didn't you just ask? Frank's face flickered with frustration, and he shoved Percy's chest, sending him reeling a step.
Because she loved you more. Though why, I have no idea. You're not family material, are you?
Percy fought against the sudden hurt pulsing in his chest. He'd opened up to Frank about his ex in confidence. Where was his good-natured cousin who used to playfully rib him? The one he went to hockey games with? The one who laughed? A tight smile tipped Frank's lips, as if he knew he'd hit a nerve.
I'm not surprised Josh left you for someone else. You were someone to fuck around with before he settled into his real life.
It took 42 muscles to pinch a face in anger, 4 to lift an arm and slap him. Difficult math. At least I'm not in the closet. Frank leaned in and whispered.
At least I'm not destined to be unhappy.
Percy opened his mouth to retort, but his cousin beat him to it.
It will happen again. You'll get close to someone, and they'll leave you. They always do.
Frank took off, leaving Percy to swallow the golf ball in his throat. With the slam of his car door, his cousin hightailed it out of the cul-de-sac. Percy cupped the back of his neck and stared after him. Frank might be right. People he cared about never tended to stick around. With an achy laugh, he headed to his Jeep to unload the boxes. The creak of wood, followed by clomping footsteps, pulled his attention across the road. Cal stepped out of his porch shadows. A laugh wheezed out of him. He was right. Of all the neighbors to witness his dramatic return, it would have to be his nemesis. The lukewarm hood of his Jeep bit against the small of his back where he leaned against it. Cal plodded toward him in flannel pajama bottoms, the ends stuffed into mud-caked boots. He carried a dictionary that flattened his inside-out t-shirt to his chest. Blue marker scribbled up one of his forearms, the work of his 4-year-old sister, no doubt. A summer breeze flustered Cal's thick, wavy hair the color of a wet fox. Cal stopped in front of him, and Percy folded his arms and lifted his chin. Was it possible for a 22-year-old to grow another inch? Because Cal looked taller than he remembered. Callaghan, Percy said, and plastered on a bored smile.
Perseus.
Quite the cavalry you are. Waltzed over just in time.
That's me. All hero complex.
They sized each other up as they had every summer, Thanksgiving, and Christmas they'd met since Percy moved in with his aunt. Perseus versus Callaghan. Cal raised his right eyebrow, the one with a nick in the center that made it look like Cal perpetually mocked him. Percy gestured to the dictionary Cal clasped against his chest.